How's it going, guys? I'm Vivi and welcome back to another Sly Cooper theory video. So I'm sure a lot of you are used to this style of video. What I do is I go over ideas and theorize pretty much. Now some of you sometimes might think, Vivi, are you okay? Are you getting enough sleep? Your videos are interesting and all, but these ideas, sometimes I wonder, where do you get them from? Like, dude, are you okay? Guys, thing is, it's just imagination. You guys have been listening to my boring imagination. That's pretty much it. Anyways, what I'd like to talk about this time is Arpeggio. So with that being said, let's get started. Arpeggio attended boarding school. He was the most intellectual student out of them all. Due to his small size, he was unable to fly and perhaps was made fun of. Now this wasn't really explained in Sly 2, but we can easily assume that maybe he was bullied, like really made fun of due to his size. But later on, eventually he decided to try out something because, you know, he's pretty smart. He eventually got into Italian Renaissance, which served as the basis of all of his doings in Sly Cooper 2. With all of his brain power, he was able to construct a blimp as transport where all of his base of operations took place. Sure, he had the brains and all that, but he eventually got fascinated by Clockwerk. We're talking about a bird who's robotic, who lived for years and years. I mean, sure, someone would get fascinated. How does one replace all of his organic parts with metal? And why would they do so? Sure, Clockwerk, he hated the Coopers, but like I said 100 million times, there's more to it. But let's not go there now. A time comes where Arpeggio meets Neela, who was a master manipulator in Sly 2. Once that was done, the Claw Gang got formed and Arpeggio was the chief inventor. And also, eventually he hired a bunch of guards. So what this bird did is he convinced all of the members of the Claw Gang to steal the parts from the museum. You know, to start this illegal spice distribution to make some money. But what was Arpeggio's true intention? Gather all the parts for himself, for his own agenda. With Neela's manipulation, the Cooper gang were able to steal back all of the Clockwerk parts, but eventually Jean Besson found their base and he sold all of the parts to Arpeggio. This was all intended. Now about this spice distribution, what was the real point of that? The spices, they turned people angry. With Contessa's hypno ability, Arpeggio was able to use that on the blimp and transmit lights. The Northern Lights with the help of Jean Besson. So everyone pretty much played a role in all of his plan. One thing we all found unexpected at the ending of Sly 2, well, around the ending, before facing Neela, is Neela double-crossing Arpeggio. What happened to him? He's dead. He got crushed to death. Question is, how was Arpeggio able to assemble the pieces? He's never met Clockwerk. He doesn't really know how his body parts work. But we can easily assume something. Look at Arpeggio. He's a wise guy, right? Okay, not when it comes to trusting people, we saw what happened with Neela and all that, but he eventually understood how the parts worked. Does it sound too easy to say that? I mean, he studied Italian Renaissance, so we can say that yes, he eventually understood how the parts worked. Now what about this blueprint? I actually made a video about this a very long time ago, talking about, hey, what if someone had given Arpeggio blueprints in secret? But I've been rewatching the cutscenes, and this blueprint was actually from Carmelita's office. Notice the fan on top. They're in their office, right? So the confidential thing was just part of Interpol, that's it. Just them doing research on Clockwerk. Well, the stolen parts, to be more precise. Just one thing I'd like to throw in before I proceed. What about Arpeggio's parents? We have absolutely no idea. Were they the ones who put them in the boarding school? Sure, we can assume so, but could they have come into contact with Clockwerk? Like I said, guys, Clockwerk is very mysterious. We have no idea what he's gone through in the past. So I'm sure this mysterious, huge, evil Al, he knows a lot. And what happened to Arpeggio's parents? Well, okay, I know some of you might think, dude, enough with the parents card and all that, but we simply don't know what happened. Maybe they died and that's it. Could it have been due to Clockwerk? Who knows? So with that out of the way, let's move on. Arpeggio was able to assemble the Clockwerk pieces together. Once that was done, the frame was activated and Neela entered it. Technically, the parts fell but got assembled after the magnets reversed. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it worked. Now, one thing that's still a mystery to me and perhaps to a lot of you today is Arpeggio, he held on to the brain. We have absolutely no idea if it was placed in Clockwerk or not. What if it wasn't? I mean, you have a frame. Whoever enters it, they animate the body. The brain of such person takes part and controls the body. Maybe we can say that Clockwerk's brain was inactive and maybe started to activate, wake up, But I wouldn't be too sure of that. It's Clockwerk we're talking about. He lived for generations. You're telling me Clockwerk wouldn't wake up immediately when his brain is placed? Come on. I mean, sure, it could probably take a few minutes, maybe a few hours, but just thinking of how he lived on for all these years, I'm sure he would have woken up pretty fast. Think of this. When you're entering Clockwerk's frame, your brain enters the frame. If Clockwerk's brain was placed in the body, we would have two brains, technically. Who would take control? Who was the one who lived on for generations? I'm pretty sure Clockwerk would have taken over immediately. Okay, like I just said, it could have probably taken a few minutes or a few hours. Okay, but Neela felt this power growing inside her. I'll get to that. Just wait. Okay, if the brain was never installed, where was it kept? Perhaps in a secret hidden location? Bassan actually wanted to buy the brain from Arpeggio, but Arpeggio said, "You already have more Clockwerk parts than the others." I'm sure that was some sort of excuse, just to convince him, hey, you don't need the brain. Now Arpeggio, he wanted to become immortal. Why? Probably due to what happened in the past. Being laughed at, bullied, made fun of, he couldn't fly. Using his brains, he wanted to prove to the world that he's menacing, that a tiny bird like him can eventually turn into this huge metallic owl. As for Neela, that we don't know. Why would she want to become immortal? That is another question left to answer. Back to the brain. Could a deal have been made? Think about this, guys. Why would you need Clockwerk's brain in the first place? Why would you place it in the body? Arpeggio, he didn't want to wake up Clockwerk. He wanted his body. Imagine if his brain was placed. Like I said, Clockwerk would have taken over, assuming. What about this power Neela felt? That was due to the hate chip. She felt what Clockwerk felt throughout generations. That's what fueled the bird. So what happened to the brain, I think, is someone bought it. Arpeggio said he held on to it, but that could have been a lie. If you want Clockwerk's body, you wouldn't use his brain. I'm sure he sold it to someone who needed it the most. For what reason? Who knows, maybe they wanted to bring back Clockwerk? I'm not gonna say any names. Let's call this person the unknown. This unknown, he bought the brain. He or she bought the brain. Could this unknown have been keeping an eye on the old parts to see how they functioned? To see if it was worth placing the brain back into that old body? And again, guys, this person is unknown. I don't want to jump to conclusions. I don't want to say any names. If the brain wasn't sold, where is it? Where is it hidden? That is the question. And I'd like you guys to leave your thoughts in the comments. Now again, let's go back to the hate chip. It fueled Clockwerk. That's what powered him. Hate is an emotion. You need pure hate to fuel the chip for true immortality. Something doesn't work here. Something sounds very weird to me. I'm sure black magic is involved. You need pure hate to get true immortality. Neela's brain, we can say, started to fuel the chip. Like it started, it didn't fully. That's why she felt power growing inside her. All of that hate was starting to activate the hate chip, and that's what she felt. And Neela herself said, sure, I don't have immortality from pure hate and all that. So here's the thing. Pure hate versus hate from people who were brainwashed due to the spices. Something tells me magic has to do something with this. I see immortality as Clockwerk simply living and hunting down Coopers for generations. Immortality, guys, I mean look, the Cooper gang were able to stop Clockwerk in Sly 1. In this case, I believe the true source of immortality is Clockwerk's brain itself. That's his living soul, his mind, how he thinks. The brain is Clockwerk, not the hate chip. The hate chip was just a fuel source. That's it. This brings me to what Clockwerk said in Sly 1. You'll never be rid of me, Cooper. Even Sly himself in Sly 2 said, I was naive to think that we could get rid of this bird so easily. I believe the Cooper gang is still naive. Something is coming and they don't know when. In short, what I'm trying to say is maybe Clockwerk was testing Sly in the first game to see if his body was still okay to be part of combats and all that. Who is this unknown with Clockwerk's brain? That too, we don't know. Funny to think that there will be so many unanswered questions in the Sly Cooper series. The Cooper gang, they have absolutely no idea what's coming. You're telling me Clockwerk is dead, easily, just like that, in Sly 1. He survived for hundreds of years, and then dies, poof. No. Something is up, and I believe Clockwerk is still out there somehow. I believe his brain was found and is being kept in a secret location. It's being studied. Perhaps this unknown is even communicating with Clockwerk via a computer. What is this unknown up to? Perhaps they want to bring Clockwerk. This might sound funny to you guys, but I keep thinking of this movie called Her. I haven't seen it, but it's this guy who apparently has this relationship with an operating system. Think of this. If a girl was studying Clockwerk and communicating communicating with him. What if this person, this unknown, had developed feelings with a robot? Clockwerk could also be using this unknown emotionally, tricking them, giving them compliments, making them laugh. He's using everything in his power to convince this unknown to bring him back a lot stronger. Who could this character be talking to Clockwerk, flirting with the computer? I know what you guys are thinking. I'm not gonna say the name. I know what you're thinking. I know. Sly Cooper has potential. I don't think the developers should be running out of ideas. Not at all. Anyways, back to the point. If they do decide to bring back Clockwerk, they could explain a bunch of backstories. He watched everything. He's seen a lot. The Sly Cooper 4 Easter eggs, the treasures, all of that, I believe foreshadows his return in a different form. He will come back stronger, in a different body, more menacing, more creepy. He's going to be faster, more agile. He tested Sly in Sly 1. He will come after Sly. When is he exactly going to return? I'm not gonna spoil anything. I have a bunch of videos planned for you guys, okay? Last thing I want to say, I want Sly Cooper 5 to be one heck of a dramatic game. I don't want to hear it's a kid's game, alright? I really don't want to hear that. Sure, make the game appealing to both audiences, young kids and adults. The majority of the fan base has grown up. So whoever's gonna work on Sly 5, I'm hoping they take all of this into account. But anyways guys, as usual, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you think of this theory? Did I take it too far? Does it sound interesting? Share everything. So yup, I've been Vivi, and thank you for watching.